Nice weather today, it's a great day for walking the track. It's 5:30, the tide's starting to go out. Low tide will be at about 7:30 tonight. You can see how far the tide goes out. Day 2 and I'm just setting out for Bark Bay. So it's about a 4-hour tramp today. Yeah, and I'm just heading over some hills and along the beaches. So we'll just get going. We're going to head off that way. So first thing up today is the tidal crossing across Torrent Bay. So we're at low tide at the moment. And we're just heading for a low settle over there in that direction. At low tide there's a whole lot of rocks there that are exposed by the water. Sun's just coming up. That's looking back down the beach at Anchorage. Hopefully I'll be back here sometime. We're at the end of the beach and we're just going to head up over the saddle and over to Torrent Bay. So we just head up the hill, first climb of the day. It's just a 60 metre climb to get up to the top and then down to Torrent Bay. So I'm at the top, so that track goes back up to the main track, heading out to Marahau, and we're just heading downhill here, heading down to Torrent Bay now. So there you can see down there's Torrent Bay down at the bottom. Yeah, so there's Torrent Bay right in front of me. So I'm ready to set off across the bay. So I've got my Crocs on. It's very muddy and there's some channels out there we'll have to go across. Boots around my neck. It takes about 20 minutes to do the crossing over to the other side. Yeah, I'll take some photos and some films as we're going across so you can see what it looks like. So we'll get going and head across over to Torrent Bay. That's looking back to where we started the tidal crossing. We're just heading for the Torrent Bay campsite, which is just behind that boat over there in the distance. So that's how far we have to walk across the mudflats. That's looking up along the path of the high water track. It goes around the outside of the estuary. Takes about an extra hour. There's a couple of river channels you have to cross. This is one of them. So here at low tide you can see the water is probably about ankle deep. You just have to basically cross it like you do any river crossing, water crossing. Look for the shallowest part to get across. It's Torrent Bay settlement over there in the distance. So there's where I'm heading over by the boat. Looking back over the Torrent Bay crossing. That's where I'm going, back on shore. Is a good view over the estuary. I'm back on the coastal track, the Great Walk track, and this goes round to Torrent Bay settlement. I'm walking through the Torrent Bay settlement. You have to stay on the track. The people that own the houses here are really aware of their property rights because they keep talking about bringing this land back into the national park. So stay on the marked track. Don't go walking into people's houses or across their yards. Just a sign pointing the way. 6.7 k's to Bark Bay. So that's the edge of the Torrent Bay settlement. We're heading up into the forest and uphill from here. Yeah, and heading up to the top of the saddle. It's a steep climb up out of Torrent Bay. Tide's starting to come in. I can see it inundating the sand flats in front of Torrent Bay. Just passing through a big blowdown area. I'm finding this quite hard because I had COVID a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, having to breathe quite hard to keep going. I'm walking down to the Falls River now. That's the halfway point for the walk today. Heading downhill through thick forest. That's one of the dozen or so bridges you cross on the way to Bark Bay. That's the high point between Torrent Bay and Falls River. So I'm walking downhill to the Falls River now. I can hear it down below me. Another bridge to cross. Really big tocha tree just there. You can see the mountains out along the Queen Charlotte track and the Marlborough Sounds way off in the distance there. Been walking for an hour and a half now. Probably about just over a third of the way there. You can only get to that bay by sea. I'm at Halfway Pool, which is halfway between Anchorage and Bark Bay. Yeah, so Halfway Pool is halfway between Anchorage and Bark Bay. You can actually take water from this pool. It's like clean water. You still would have to treat it with something or filter it just in case. Yeah, but it's a lovely clear pool of water there. Here's a place where the track goes through some rocks. That's looking down the coast back towards Marahau. There's a wee seat here up above that bay. I'm just going to stop for a 5-minute break and have a drink of water. I had a look at the map. That's Frenchman's Bay down there. Walking and walking. So I'm making my way down to the Falls River now. It's quite steep going down to the Falls River, and it's a bit slippery, so just take your time, be careful. There's the Falls River Suspension Bridge. The Falls River Bridge is the biggest one on the coastal track. I know from experience it's super bouncy when you get out there in the middle. That's looking downriver from the bridge. That's looking up the Falls River from the suspension bridge. We're a long way up. We're probably about 60 metres up above the river. It's looking back over the suspension bridge. From the bridge, we're just sidling around the side of the hill to Bark Bay. It's about maybe 2.5 k's away. Sandfly Bay's down this way, and I'm going straight ahead to Bark Bay. The second day of this trek, you're walking from Anchorage to Bark Bay. It's roughly about 8 kilometres, and it takes anywhere from 3 to 3.5 hours. So I'm at the side track down to Sandfly Bay. That's the mouth of the Falls River. Bark Bay is straight ahead, 1.4 k's, about half an hour to 40 minutes. So there's the turn off to South Head. There's a campsite down there, and also like a viewpoint where you can see up and down the coast. I'm not going to go down there, but I'll put a couple of photos up here to show you what it looks like from that point. And we're heading that way to Bark Bay. Big massive totara tree there. That's bridge number 9 so far today. Another couple of big totara trees. The forest up here is interesting. It's coastal podocarp, so you have all those podocarp species like remo and totara, but you also have beech trees. The predominant tree up here is manuka, grown along the sides of the hills. So I'm here at Medlands Beach. Bark Bay is only 500 metres ahead of us, and we'll go down and have a look down on Medlands Beach now. So this is Medlands Beach here. I'll just go down and show you what the beach looks like. So that's Medlands Beach down there. That's where that big Wilson's boat drop people off, and people do day walks from here. I'm probably about 20 minutes walk away from Bark Bay from the hut. Yeah. So information panel. Where Bark Bay is 10 minutes walk away. So that's Bark Bay there. That's a different view of Medlands Beach from further down the track. That's Bark Bay over there in the distance. The campsite is on that sand spit that you can see, and the hut's over in the trees on the other side of the sand. Probably about 15 minutes walk to get there. Yeah. Another view of Bark Bay. So you can see the coastline is really rocky there, where big chunks of rock have fallen down off the surrounding hills. Yeah, you sometimes find seals down here sitting on the rocks. I haven't seen any, but I was looking for them. That's the way to the campsite. So I'm here at Bark Bay. That took me roughly 3 hours, just over 3 hours to get here. Yeah, it's not too strenuous, but climbing up over that hill to get to the Falls River is the steepest bit. Yeah, so I'll keep walking around to the hut and sort my stuff out, and must be just about time for lunch because it's 10 past 11. So this is part of the campsite at Bark Bay. There's some fireboxes here and some toilets, benches for you to sit at. So this is the campsite cooking shelter at Bark Bay campsite. So you can see there's some benches, and they've got water here. You have to boil it. Sinks, there's some seats. Yeah, quite a nice wee shelter. There's a shelter exactly like this at Onatahuti, and there's also one like this at Totranui. At low tide, you can walk over to the hut on the far side over there where that big orange triangle is. The not track, the coastal track actually goes around the outside of this lagoon. But what I'll do is I'll just walk over to the hut just across the river flats there. Kaka. Some Weka footprints in the mud. There's Bark Bay Hut just over there. So here's Bark Bay Hut, the place where I'm staying for the second night of this trip. Yeah, so Bark Bay is more like a traditional backcountry hut than a Great Walk hut. It's one big central living cooking area, and then the bedrooms are off to the side of it. So here's the inside of the hut. It's a famous or lockwood design. Still nice. This is my favourite hut on the trek. So there's a couple of tables, one table there, one in the corner. There's some benches over here around the fireplace. All good places to be. Tapped water into the hut. Stake my place on the table over there. So there's two bunk rooms. I'm in this one here. I've already snaffled the best spot over by the window. And then there's the second bunk room here. This one's quite dark, so I have stayed in this room one time when I've come through. Yeah. There's also a little small bunk room off to the side of the hut, but it's outside the hut that holds 6 bunks. So that's the toilet washing up area over there. Just having some soup and crackers and cheese for lunch. So there's the track off the main track going to the hut. I'm just in a clearing a bit further up the track, and there's an absolutely massive rimu tree there. It's huge. The trunk's going to be probably 2.5 metres round, and I'd say it's probably about 40 metres high. Tide's coming in. So the Big Wilson's ferry is too deep draft to land on this beach. They have to land at Medlands Beach, but the aquataxi boats come in here. So you've got that nice lagoon right out in front of the hut. It's looking out over the lagoon. The tide's gone out. Low tide today's at just before 10. I got the only decent mattress in the place. I've taken it. Ho ho. Jolly good for John.